You likely are already aware of the stature that Jerry Connor has in the realm of HR. He's the founder of the award-winning Bridge Consultancy, and he has been vitally involved in aspects of changing many organizations to improve their performance, with HR as the basis for such change. He's a much published writer, and he's also the author of a book, Why Work is Weird, and he has certainly experience in Asia as well, so he's not a stranger to our part of the globe. He has served or worked with teams or set up teams that work in China, in Japan, India, Singapore, Vietnam, and Thailand, as well as Australia. So he's certainly no stranger, as I've already said. And he's been serving the needs of HR for the past 20 years or more. And now he's with us, and we're very happy to invite your close attention as Jerry Connor speaks. If you've got your phone devices switched on now, maybe time to turn them off again so that it doesn't intrude in any way. The general plan is there will be the spoken part of the presentation, and then there will also be opportunities for questions to be raised by you, and Jerry will handle that at the appropriate time. Okay, Jerry.
Listen, thank you very much, and it's a privilege to get to speak twice. So what I thought I'd do is I'd take some of the ideas that we were talking about yesterday and take them to a slightly more practical level and talk to some stories about people who've made them work. And the hoping is that one or two of those ideas might be of value and of interest to yourselves. But before I do that, I thought I should just briefly recap what we said yesterday, because I'm aware that there are some people here who didn't hear yesterday's talk. So firstly, the thing I was asked to speak about was the people factor in the global economy. The people factor. Effectively, that's the piece that we own in HR. I always think of it that businesses have got capital, and they've got brands, and they've got people. And the thing we add value to is the people factor in business. And I've been privileged recently to be involved in a research project. And what we've been looking at is what we call next generation HR. So next generation HR, oh, where's that going? Next generation HR is looking not at what best practice today is. We're not looking at what most people in this room in other countries are doing right now. We're looking at what a few innovative people are doing in a few places right now that might give us some ideas for the future. So please, everything we talk about, there's no expectation that anyone will be doing it completely, but hopefully there are some nuggets there which can inform our practice going forward. And I've been privileged to do this research in a number of countries, in India, in China, in Singapore, in Thailand, in the UK, with global companies, and also with non-corporate organizations. And what we talked about yesterday is there were three things, really, that the guys we were talking to spoke about. One of them, the first bit, is this word organizational equity, which is kind of, if you think about the people factor, what really is it? The people factor is the value that the people in our organization bring. It's the combination and the caliber and the leadership and the service culture and the essence that we've got, which brings long-term competitive advantage to our business. And organizational equity is the way we as HR professionals continue to build and create and contain that for the long term. The second piece was insights-driven HR. And this was about how some of these, what I thought, fascinating HR leaders were applying that people factor and making it drive advantage in their business. They were using insight to create a coherent business story which could create competitive advantage. So we spoke about both of those things yesterday. And what I thought I'd do today is I'd talk about how. And I'm going to get you to work a bit when we do this. So, but first of all, just really briefly, organizational equity. I put that definition up yesterday, which was basically that HR will continue to play a huge role in building an organization that delivers today. So our job is about today's effectiveness, but even more importantly, it's about tomorrow. It's about building capability for tomorrow and for tomorrow's challenges. And we looked briefly at the movement between our role from a people point of view is making sure we can do our jobs well, making sure we have the leadership to make the right decisions, and making sure we're prepared for whatever might happen in the future. So that's what organizational equity means. And what I thought I'd do is I'd take you through 3 or 4 examples of organizations that have done something with that. But given that you just had a tea break and had some food, I thought we've got to start by asking you to do something. So first of all, could I ask you, could you turn to someone sitting next to you, and if you don't know them, introduce yourself. If you do know them, then just shake their hand. So could you do that? Has everyone done that? Right, the person you just spoke to, you are now a team, the 2 of you. Now, what I'd like you to do is I've heard that there's some high caliber HR consultancy expertise in this room. I've heard that you're all outrageously well paid and brilliantly intelligent. Now, what I'm wanting to do is I'm going to give you a little challenge. So this is a company we worked with. So it's a world-class manufacturing company. It's a really good company. Invests a lot in its people. It's famous for the way it treats its people. It's invested really heavily in employee engagement. Spent a lot of money on it. And its scores are good. It measures it with surveys. But recently the scores have plateaued. And there are 2 questions that score lowest. One is understanding what's expected of me. And the second one is having the tools to do the job. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes with your partner that you just introduced yourself. The question is, what do you think might be the cause of that? Why do you think that happens? So go, talk to your buddy. And anyone who's not talking will definitely ask with the microphone. Okay, so we've got an answer already.
That you haven't sharpened your axe. You haven't trained your people.
Haven't trained your people. Great answer. Someone else, someone over here. Any other thoughts? The policy deployment that's not been done